the number of calls I've gotten these days on, man, stock market, waiting to happen, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. I mean, what's driving a lot of the rally we're seeing?
I feel like there's probably a new generation of traders who are today in their 20s, who have not experienced what happened in the bloodbath of 2008, who are putting their own monies behind it and saying, this thing can easily go to, it can triple. But there's also a learning curve where they would also get spanked. Because we got spanked in 2008.
Did you do slack comms?
I have a friend that ended up in the hospital. He was actually sick, maybe of mind, but there was actually nothing wrong with him because he had just lost maybe $1 million or $2 million. I
know someone, he took his house in VGC. He had been doing stock market and he was making money. He said, look, I have to hit this thing big. Took the papers of the house, went to the bank.
I hope he asked his wife.
Okay, he didn't.
Oh, gee.
He didn't. The bank gave him 50 million. The value of the house at the time was 95 million, 96 or something like that. So he put the money in one stock. Starcoms. They repoed the house. I think that we have so many stockbrokers in this market. The market is overbooked, but I don't think that they're
not strong enough.
They're not strong enough.
Actually, even the strong ones are weak. There was a time in this market where we had strong equity research. I couldn't today see a young, talented cousin of mine or mentee and tell him to go and do equity research.
Why would he do it when there's ChatGPT?
I want to ask you a question. How many brokers can afford a Bloomberg subscription? So everybody talks about, yes, Nigeria is huge population, big markets. What's the purchasing power of that market?
I don't know how we voted for Buhari. I don't understand why my parents didn't sit me down and tell me, did they come and listen to the history? Our parents, they queued for rice. They queued for milk. And they know what they went through under Buhari. Even now, as I'm older, I see that Jonathan was a better alternative.
Hello everyone, welcome to Drinks and Mics, brought to you by Naira. My name is Dre, and we do this every week on this channel, Naira TV, in case you're just watching for the very first time. I've got the gang in the house today, and there's just one member of the gang who's not around. I mean, he's junketting the world. I think he's going on another vacation. I don't know, let him speak for himself. But I've got Otumba in the house. What's up?
I'm good. How are you?
We missed you last week, bro.
Yeah, I had a clashing event, so I allowed you guys have all the fun.
And
you guys really had all the fun. And all the dragging on social media. So,
Very interesting session. I don't know, people said you were quiet last time. Yeah, like you were in like you were in combative.
Yeah, no, I think
I didn't know you were an activist or something.
No, I think for me
they thought you were an activist.
No, I think for me it was just trying to figure out how to tackle the topics, right? Where it's I saw the guest more as a mouthpiece for the administration, but not someone that necessarily will be there to defend the decisions that were made, right? So it was more, okay, let him speak. And then
let's just hear how they're communicating. And there's a lot we got out of it though. For those who could discern.
He's the PR, right? So let him communicate rather than a decision maker or policy maker, someone that can defend the policies that have been set. So it was more, okay, let him speak and then we can talk around it. So that was my view.
All right, cool. So, of course, I'm sure you've seen already, we've got another special guest in the house. Yeah. That's what we do when we have a special guest. So we're gonna allow him to introduce himself. Don't be
shy.
No, not that. Don't be hoodwinked by his outfit. This is a purely markets guy. As you can see, it's gonna be a purely markets show today. Introduce yourself, boss.
Thanks, guys, for having me. My name is David Alao. I am the managing director and CEO of Leadway Asset Management. I'm involved in the investment vertical across the group. And basically we oversee, a lot of monies for our, clients, institutions, private wealth clients, the 1% of the 1%. We also look after individuals as well, retail customers as well. So it's a lot of responsibility.
Can imagine.
That comes with having to make decisions in the markets. Before then, I was head of investment at Stanbic Pensions. I think then I was managing about $13 billion, something like that. Before then, I was in Stanbic Asset Management, and I also worked in the UK as with a hedge fund. So I've been around, and yes, we are here. It's nice to be here.
Good to have you.
Good
to have you on Drinks and Mike. So let me even start with your your corporate experience. So last 20 years or thereabout, what has changed now from, what investing was like back then and now? I've heard, Otumba here rant about how, man, those days, now $20 million now when you run per day trade. Now it's $2 million in spot every day. Imagine. I'm not going back to that market. So what has been your own experience though? I mean, then and now, is it better now? Is it worse? Technology-wise, in terms of the kind of trades you're seeing, information that we see these days, credibility as well. Like what? You've gone through all these cycles. You went through the 2008-9 disaster that we had then.
Let me tell you a story. I think one day he was telling me that, he was hoping that, the market would be his retirement plan, be $1 million, on income, and then, they spot everything, right?
Was that the plans you had, bro?
That was the plan. No, but because I as an analyst then, I saw my seniors were walking away with $1 million a year. So why would I not aspire to be that 5-10 years down the line?
Rank-up had come into the market.
And that was, I at that time, I'll never say this story. At that time, I had a colleague who had an accident. He wrote off his car and he bought a car the next day. Walked into his dealership.
Let me tell you one. Similar. So there was a guy, right? I think at the time I was working for, it wasn't FCMB. I think it was one of the defunct banks, right? Okay. Headed by a pastor. Bank PHP, I think. I was working in the capital markets business. So it was on his way to work, right? Okay. Marina, last man stops him, right? This is, I think, 2007, 2008, Intercontinental. Intercontinental. So last man stops him, okay? And he had a Camry that he had just bought. It was fairly new, maybe like 3 or 4 years old, right? Okay. So my guy was like, look, I'm going to be late for
a meeting.
Market open, right? Okay. My guy told me that we need to take this stock high or whatever, right? So when the last man guy stopped him, he said, look, you know what? Take the car.
Take the damn car. Because what it was about to make was way more than the car.
Right? And that's what he was going to make for himself, right? More than the car. So like, look, you know what? How much is the car? Take the car.
But do you think the capital markets get to the point where Koreans start to make that sort of salary raise? So the young aspiring interns and young aspiring analysts, do you think that we get there where the $1 million bonuses come back?
I think it'll be difficult. Reason why I say so is there's been this report that came out this week. I don't know if you guys saw it, where we looked at the cost of trading across markets in Africa. And Nigeria is maybe second or third most expensive. So there is a conversation to be had to say we need to cut down the cost of trading in these markets. But I would argue that the person that needs to cut their cost is regulator, right? Because the regulators are the ones that are making the cost of transacting in this market really high, right? The brokers are probably razor thin. So the only way a broker today can make money is that the market needs to get really robust. So we're doing $100 million a day, right? Luckily, in the last week now, we've been doing about $40 million. So 60 billion Naira
transactions
on a daily basis, which is a far cry from the 5 billion that was happening
some years back
during Buhari. So, if you can get back to a place where the market is robust and doing $100 million without any, it's not driven by cross transactions or block trades, it's just general back and forth, then
But to play devil's advocate, if you cut the cost down and the volumes are obviously
exactly. So what
if you cut costs down, then no one's getting paid.
Yeah, but
Right.
if the pie really grows, if the pie goes
Exactly.
from,
That's what I was
$2 million to $200 million, right? Even if you're, I don't think.
But do you think cost is what's killing volume?
I mean, I don't think
people aren't buying stocks because they're paying commission, right? When I'm buying stocks, I'm not thinking, okay, how much is this stock?
Yeah. No, I
What's
think
liquidity?
so. There are two different. I think it sounds like two separate arguments. So there's a cost issue, which at the end of the day, you'd always want the cost of transactions to go down, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the incentive to even want to invest.
I
right?
think the ultimate conversation is the economy going to grow?
Exactly.
Right? If the economy is going to grow, more companies are going to list on the market, right? Okay. So we are seeing a large number of oil and gas plays now, right? Can that also transcend to FMCGs? Can it transcend to, one market, for example, that nothing has happened in recent times is the insurance business, right? Okay.
Even with this capitalization that they're doing.
Nothing.
Not a lot of deals, no mergers.
Right? Okay. So, and that again takes you back to the structure of the economy. If insurance becomes everybody must have one for your home, have, all that kind of stuff, then it leads to economic growth, right? And then that ultimately, but if we look at the market as it is today, will we get back to those days, right? It's difficult to see, but you need to see the economy grow. You need to see the currency also strengthen, right? Okay, all of those then ultimately.
I don't
think the currency strengthens.
I don't think we really need that. I would argue this. If you look at how did the PZs of this world, GSKs, Nestle, list on the market, was because the government at the time actually did
indigenization policy.
there was a policy that you have to list.
Yeah.
I feel like the government needs to go back to that conversation.
Somebody said coercion here the other day, and we were arguing.
It will come with.
So Naira,
hold on. It will come with incentives, which is that you get a tax holiday. So if you come and list, I will give you a 3-year tax holiday.
But
I don't even think they need that incentive. Nope, not that incentive.
How come Dangote Cement, right, only has so much listed today, right? If the market could absorb it,
he will sell more.
It will sell more, exactly.
Yes,
so it's not a matter of if you put it to them and say, look, you must list. Right? Okay. Where is the power to buy?
And that's why we said issuing houses needs to do more.
Presco did 260 billion.
Rights issue.
Yeah, the market absorbed. I'm saying the market, there's liquidity to absorb the market. Dangote Cement is not willing to list. Not.
What proportion of that was arranged?
Does it really matter when it was arranged or not?
But if you're talking about the market not being able to absorb, I think the market can absorb Dangote listing more of his shares. I think that's a different issue. I think that's probably more the issue.
We're going to start talking about what we need to do to disrupt the NGX. Is that first of all,
that's what we're talking about.
So we need to think about, can we increase the trading time, right? Where people can trade for longer. That's one. Number two is that it takes about an hour, sometimes 2 hours
to dematerialize,
to unblock shares. And I'm saying is that if you look at, these are things that don't require...
unblock shares, what do you mean?
Unblock shares, so basically I send an instruction now, a lot of shares are being held by custodian, right? So because, again, in terms when we talk about this whole thing about
account
brokers don't hold the shares
to your trading account.
Of your trading account. So the risk does not sit with the broker, it sits with the custodian. So when you give an insurance to Godrej to trade, Godrej then goes to the custodian to say, unblock or detach those shares into my position so I can trade for the clients. That process of detaching the shares from that omnibus account to the trading position can take 2 hours.
Why? Is it a technology problem?
It's just the process, man.
It's the process.
When it's process, then it sounds like technology.
It's just people. It's also a technology problem because, right, if the systems were linked, right, if there was a API connectivity from the front end all the way to the back end, right, then it would make it instant, right? Okay, it would almost be like you're buying airtime or whatever you're doing. But if I have to send an email,
it's a technology problem.
Okay, then it gets to somebody needs to approve.
Get approval.
Needs to go.
It's approval, gets approval.
This is what Tunja and I were saying the last time.
So it's a process.
Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is...
But why are you not drinking there?
No, I'm together. There's also post-trade allocation.
Are you washing your...
Post-trade. No.
Post-trade?
Post-trade allocation.
So what's in here? Water?
Water and lemon.
Oh, okay.
So post-trade allocation.
Ramadan.
So give an example. When the client sends you an account, they'll send you an order. I want to buy 10 million shares or $10 million worth of GT back. And I want to buy it into these 10 accounts. When What happens is, as a trader, is you then go to the system and you put account 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you put, I'm buying $1 million for this one. Then you go in again. So for 10 accounts, you have to impute the account number manually and then put the amount. And you have to then watch the market that is trading so that you're not overbuying, because certain clients will give you trading limits or whatever. So you're looking at 10 accounts at the same time, which allows for.
So is this from the broker's end?
Yeah, from the broker's end, yeah.
But I've tried. I've traded before using one of these brokers, their platform, and I don't experience all that.
But you are individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with asset managers like maybe Arnold might have like aggressive fund 1, fund this, so you might have like 4 or 5 funds.
Client funds.
Client funds as well.
So when you have those, so imagine I'm trading for 10 different accounts for one client. But what could happen is you could say, you know what, let's create an omnibus account for Arnold, where Arnold can buy in all the GTB he wants. When market closes, I would then decide what the split is, and then split it into the sub accounts.
Okay.
So we don't have post-trade settlement in the market. So
is that an NGX issue, or is that just the
that's
market
a
issue?
CSCS.
Clearing. That's clearing,
CSCS NGX issue, right?
Clearing,
And
CSCS,
people would say, oh, it's a CSCS issue, but I'm saying is that the NGX owns 40% of CSCS. So why aren't we driving?
NGX,
Why aren't we driving these things through the wall? Like, so let's break somebody's head onto this thing. You guys look at something, say a boardroom, and figure out if you want to. No, I don't want to get stuff.
CSCS has a new boss though. We should probably bring him on, drink some Max, and then come and explain some of this.
Yeah.
Well, you guys should bring Timmy on board as well.
Yeah, I'll try to invite Timmy. Timmy, if you're watching, we've tried to bring you on this show a few times. Hope to drag you here one of these days. Yeah. So that we can discuss, the future of the market. I mean, we're all for markets here. So
Actually, Jude will be the.
Yeah. Timmy or Jude, whoever. I mean, we don't mind.
But yeah, there is a lot of. So imagine I give an order at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock to trade a stock, and it takes them 2 hours to unblock the shares. And when I start trading at 11, market starts closing by 2.
You don't have any time.
There's no time. So, so if you want to drive volume and you want to trade $100 million, $200 million a day, they just.
But I think these things are going to happen.
Expanding the trading hours. What happened to that? They were talking about expanding it to like 5 p.m.
I mean, what I hear is that there's a lot going on on the background. There's a lot of work they're doing.
I hear this running joke about even people in CSS don't want to work till 4 o'clock. You get what I'm saying? So if by the time you trade till 4, by the time you start closing the books and cleaning the house,
there to 6.
Maybe I'm going to be there till 6 or 7. So even those guys are saying, I'm not trying.
You have to pay them.
I mean, what is the technology? Do you have to be there to do this work? You can be doing it at home, can't you?
I mean,
so that's why I said it's a technology issue. But anyway, so still on equities, we're seeing the market. Market has been up. I mean, the number of calls I've gotten these days on, stock market, waiting to happen. What's going on? Blah 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 blah. I mean, what's driving a lot of the rally we're seeing?
Well, from where we stand, we see PFAs trying to increase their allocation
because of this new.
So there's a new regulation out that increases. So from last year, there was a conversation around, look, we're reducing the allocation to fixed income, right?
Conversation with who?
So there was a regulation out to reduce allocation to fixed income.
Okay.
Right. Particularly FGN. So obviously a number of people increased their equity allocation last year. And with the market moving, a lot of them were over their limits anyway. Right. Okay. So some of the PFAs approached PENCOM, and PENCOM graciously agreed to increase the allocation across some of the funds, right? So that's made some of the PFAs to now increase their allocation this year, to equity. So that's one. On one hand, you also have some foreign investors as well that are, in Nigeria who are also, doing more. Compared to historically when we're doing,
So is there any? So it's almost as if what we're seeing now is a lot of demand-driven, value accretion. So value is going up because there's a lot more demand in the market now.
Yes, there is a lot more demand in the market. I think that it also will increase. If we're able to get back on the global indices, then yes.
Wow. So there's still upsides then?
Yes. If you look at, pricing of Nigeria versus emerging markets and even going to other African markets, right? There is still a lot of upside. Whether it's the banks or whether it's the telecoms guys or the oil and gas guys as well. There's still a lot of opportunity there.
But there's a weird thing going on with should we call them meme stocks? With illiquid stuff, right?
Right.
Rallying
I saw
every
this
day.
thing on Twitter. Was this Stanbic the Stanbic ETF?
ETF
Doing 5,000%. These are small cap. I call them small cap stocks. No, but these are stocks that in good times you can get in. And mark to market, unrealized profits in 5,000%.
And you can't get out.
But then it's when it's time to get out,
You can't really sell.
you watch it just go down, right? What's your view on that? And I get calls as much as I get calls from guys asking about the blue chip, the GT, the Zenith, then your tier 2, your mid tiers, your Wema. I also get the Deep Capital. What's going on there? There's an internet stock. I can't remember the name. What's going on there? What's your view on those?
Okay, so for us as institutional investors, right? Okay, there will be minimum volume on what we can do, right? Okay. We take our fiduciary responsibility very seriously. What that means for us is, look, we're not going to just buy a speculative play, right? We are long-term investors. We're looking for value, and we're looking for to buy at a discount, right? And hold it for a period of time that would allow that compounding to sort of happen. Right. So we typically would not be looking at your small cap, companies. We don't even cover them.
But what's making them go up? Because let me put your point into perspective. Maybe Dele should respond to this. So this was some analysis we did at Nairametrics I think a week ago. The top 10, right? Number 10 is Nemeth.
Yeah.
Nemeth has done 124%.
And someone
then you have Dark Communications. It's done 120 something% as well. May and Baker, 120 something%. You have Omatech. Omatech has done this year 150 something%. NCR 170 something%. Zix, that's this one I just listed. It's done 170. Zix Agro, I beg your pardon, has done 270. Morrison, Deep Capital, Alti Briscoe, 296. Square. These are all penny stocks.
So
Right?
we discussed this, right?
To even add to what he's saying, because there's sometimes I'm in two minds about this, right? So there are certain markets where they have small cap equity funds, right? A lot of it's based on there was an investor, an old English investor called Jim Slater, who wrote something called the Zulu Principle. The idea of it is he said elephants don't jump, but mice do, right? So he developed a strategy to focus on small caps on the basis of these things jump.
They jump.
Right? It might be liquid. And he used the PEG ratio. The PEG ratio is
price earnings growth,
right? So he said he noticed that small cap, they're quietly growing over 3 to 5 years EPS, and they're growing faster than their PE ratio. So PEG below 1. I haven't done the same fundamental analysis on small cap, but
there's none that's growing at that level. I have done hardly any that is growing. I mean, that gives you the sort of PEG ratio that you're looking at.
Okay.
So the question, my first question is: are these companies even going concerns? So
true,
which is what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Number 2 is I feel like there is a GameStop meme trading facade happening in the market, probably driven by
brokers.
Younger, not even brokers, younger. I think they're younger
investors.
You think anyone's probably driving these things up?
I would think so,
because you don't need much to drive it up.
Maybe 100,000 will drive this thing up. And I would say is, if you look at it, and this is also generational, right? Is that at some people like us, we've been through the Dunlops.
Yep.
We've been through the Starcoms and the multi-links. So we've learned our lessons, right? We will probably not be playing I still find people within my age group still trading some dodgy names and they do it opportunistically. But I feel like there's probably a new generation of traders who are today in their 20s, who have not experienced what happened in the bloodbath of 2008,
Yep.
who are putting their own monies behind it and saying, this thing can easily go to, it can triple.
Yeah.
Right? Now, whether or not there's a liquidity event at the time we want to exit is a different question. But there's also a learning curve where they would also get spanked. Because we got spanked in 2008.
Did you do Slackcoms?
I didn't, but I have a friend that ended up in the hospital for, I did Slackcoms.
But Starcoms had such a good story, though. I just don't know.
You see, I had a friend who lost so much money that he was in the hospital. They were telling him that there's nothing wrong with you. But he was sick. And when I was there saying, don't die. You just lost money. But he was actually sick, maybe of mind. But there was actually nothing wrong with him because he had just lost maybe $1 million or $2 million.
Dollars?
Yeah. It was a lot of money.
Okay.
So this is probably, these new set of traders are going to learn that lesson as well, like we did. And that's just the cycle of life.
So should we be worried about pump and dump at this stage? Is it too early for us to worry that
pump and dump is
like maybe we're in a bubble now? Like are we getting anywhere close to a bubble?
We're not in a bubble. With the main stocks.
I mean, in general, because we are seeing the market go up
in
now.
Nigeria, I don't think we're in a bubble. But on global context, in the US, they're fast approaching a bubble.
Why'd you say so?
Okay, so we all know that the S&P 500 is done like whoosh, it's done like a huge number, right? Doubled in 3 years, right? We also know that gold has also
More than doubled.
This year alone, gold had done about 25%, close to 25% return year to date, right? But if you look at the stock market to gold ratio, right? The growth in the stock market pricing to the growth in gold, right? And there is empirical evidence of an inverse correlation, right? Okay. So the stock market in the US is actually trading below post-COVID levels.
Below?
Yes, below. Right.
In terms of multiples.
In terms of multiples. Right. And the conversation really is that equities is seen as, you're taking a risk, right? Okay. You expect growth. Gold is seen as I am storing value, right? Okay. I'm risk averse. So when you see people buying gold and prices of gold is going up, right? And the price of you'd expect that the price of equities should be coming down. So that happened in the 1970s. That happened in 2007 before the crash. That happened in 2012, right? Okay. But we're in a position today where gold is reaching all-time highs, right? Equities market is also staying atop those levels, right?
For some occasional corrections, but it comes back up again.
Exactly. And we know that institutional money is rotating out of the US. Right? Okay. So there are only two things keeping markets there. Number one, retail clients. And number two, leverage. Okay. So when you see that sharp drop, which is going to come, okay, I don't know when, right? Okay. Eventually, those retail guys are going to lose their shirts and they will be in debt.
Margin calls.
So you think the
What
bubble,
could that mean for the world then?
you think the bubble is this US equities or is this global equities or is this
US equities. Because today, as of today, the NASDAQ is in recession territory.
how so what? It's trading in recession?
Yeah.
So
it's
like,
fallen more than 20%. Right? Okay. The S&P 500.
What, this year?
Yeah.
20% this year?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a buy. Yo.
Is that a buy or is that a sell?
So,
It's falling 20%.
so if
Because I was checking my US portfolio the other day, I was like,
It's not doing anything.
it's not better for me to just sell and buy Naira now, just chill. Right?
So
I don't know.
the conversation really is that, look, one should be cautious, especially when institutional money, smart money is leaving the country. Is leaving US equities. South Korea has done 50% this year.
Wow, yeah, today.
Yesterday, yeah.
What are people buying there? Samsung?
Well, whatever they are buying,
TMSC.
just buy the ETF. Yeah, so Southeast Asia is doing well. South America is doing well. EM also is doing okay. We can see what's happening in Nigeria. So there are opportunities there.
So for Nigeria, we're not in bubble territory at all.
No, I don't think so. We're cheap.
I mean, our P is still somewhere around 7 times. Average EM is trading 14, 15 times. 15.
So there are a lot of people getting into the market now, and each time I look at it, I'm worried. I'm like, I hope that this is not going to be 2005, 6.
Let them experience it now. It's part of the fun.
No, hell no, man, hell no,
right? It's part
hell
of
no. So
bubbles.
what was it like? So
makes us who we are.
Then and now, what's different, David? Between then and now,
there is no credit.
There's no leverage. Yes,
no leverage. So you actually would lose your savings this time.
Are you sure there's no leverage?
I was about to say, are you sure there's no leverage?
There'll be some leverage. So let me tell you, in 2007, you could be in your house.
They'll come to you.
Hold on, that's that. You could have your plumber under your sink, fixing your pipe, and the guy is talking to his broker. They buy me Dunlop. Then
I suspect that that's where we're going, though. So
you walk
this is why I think.
This is why I think the market. You go to Shango market there. You see them carrying IPO. All that thing was.
Yep.
Yes, now private placements. There's like with IPOs, public offers. Then we went to the private placements.
Or when you start seeing people drumming up and down the place, come and buy this IPO, come and buy that IPO.
What do you mean, Joe? As in walking around?
No, it was marketing. Like it was street marketing.
Street marketing.
Yeah. So this is why I think that when I hear stories like this, I think Nigerian equities is not where. Yes, that's where it's going. I can see it going there. So that makes me actually think that the bubble,
man.
because this is how that mentality starts. Where we are now, it's deep is up 200%. This is up. People are now asking questions. Another year of this, then we get there. I think we have another 1 year.
At least what you had then was banks would actually give you a loan to go and buy shares. Now people can go
that sounds beautiful.
People can borrow maybe 50,000 from OPay or from their trading app or go and take a loan.
Yeah.
Right. But the quantum of that exposure is not as high as what it was.
So don't forget that the banks had just raised money. Right, and a lot of them had to.
So the banks had just raised. So it's the same thing. Is it just
no? But I used to suggest that money is getting into the market right now.
At the time, then the money was getting into the market, so it was easy money.
Yes.
I know someone. Okay, he took his house in VGC. Right, took the papers to the bank. No, he had been doing stock market and he was making money. Right, okay. And then one time, I think someone was coming. I can't remember who now. He said, "Look, I have to hit this thing big."
I love it.
So took the papers of the house, went to the bank.
I hope he asked his wife.
Okay, he didn't.
Oh, geez.
He didn't. The bank gave him 50 million. The value of the house at the time was 95 million, 96 or something like that. Okay.
That's a lot of money back then.
So he put the money in
one stock.
Starcoms.
Oh, hey, God.
Yeah. They repoed the house.
Of course, no.
They repoed the house.
Yes, I think we'll get there, man. I really.
Why is that not us a doomsday guy?
I get excited, man. I think
the learning curve has to come, right? So these guys who are playing.
The learning curve is the history that we learn from. That's the learning. Like we've seen the history already, so we should better prepare.
It's like
how easily this thing you're getting to say. It's like one reason why I founded Nairametrics was this to avoid this thing because there's a lot of misinformation back then.
No, but you can't avoid it because
the Civil War now. So all I can do is my parents will tell me how they used to queue for. But it's not the same. It doesn't feel real. Listen, I always say to people that.
So you want to experience a war because of that? That's what I'm saying.
I always say to people like, I don't know how we voted for Buhari. Right, I know the first time I know
very well.
I was like, this guy,
Dele, don't let me call you out because I was in London having this conversation with you. Dele was in rent cap.
I said, Buhari was, I wasn't pro Buhari.
And I was like, well, look at 1983. But Dele was.
I don't understand why my parents didn't sit me down and tell me, Dele, come on, listen to the history.
Mine did.
They maybe said it.
Mine did. My bosses did back then, but we're like, man, this is our generation. It's different.
Our parents, they queued for rice. They queued for milk.
Yeah.
And they know what they went through under Buhari. So they realized that, you know what, Jonathan was a better alternative, right? I always say even now as I'm older, I say that one of the biggest mistakes we made was to oppose Occupy Nigeria. That thing was our biggest.
Did we
was our
oppose
biggest
it?
undoing.
I mean, we're all on the streets. I was on the streets.
And I wasn't. So
I was on the streets.
I went a couple of times.
Yeah, I
But
still
a
have
lot
those
of
pictures.
A lot of the, I'll say the 1%, right? Okay, we're like, look, yeah, you guys can protest, but don't make a mess. Don't make a mess. Don't don't disturb the peace. Don't block the roads. Let us have our.
At some point, we were drinking in Ikoyi here now.
Yeah,
Just
but
there were
follow
people
around
drinking.
about,
But I don't want us to get into politics, but that's one of the reasons. This same thing is one of the reasons why sometimes it's difficult to forgive the current people in power, because if you go back in history, it kind of sounds like they were involved in not making that Occupy Nigeria work at the same time. But because that Occupy Nigeria was all about subsidy removal.
Yeah.
That we're all celebrating now.
Exactly.
That's what it was about.
So imagine we took it out in
2011. 10, 11. Imagine where would it be now?
Yeah.
But I mean, man, hindsight is 2020.
But for me, going back to the
back
markets, the reason I get excited, I like liquidity, I like markets, I like big markets, right? I think that markets need leverage. Right, I think leverage.
No, leverage is not a problem.
Yeah,
my mind is that can't you have
this.
leverage? How can you can't you have leverage without a bubble?
So leverage in the hands of the right people.
No, come on.
Right?
That's like segregation. So who are the right people?
Everybody, let's all enjoy this.
So think of it this way.
Booms and busts are part of the markets, right?
It's true.
Give it to your plumber.
No, it's part of the market. It's I made money. I lost money. You go again, right? For me, it's up. You buy low, you sell high. You sell, you buy. It's part of the market. So it makes the market the market. The buyer and seller makes the market. You buy at the wrong price, you sell at the right price. You just learn and you keep it moving. So I like big markets. I like liquid markets. I really, really pray for the day even I see small cap mutual funds, NESD mutual funds. Mutual funds that are looking for value in stocks, and then encourage companies that like Nairametrics to list, so we can all share in the prosperity. And then we can buy and sell Nairametrics shares. And then progenitors of businesses are making business decisions based on shareholders, and the public is a shareholder. So I'm going to make sure this business makes money because I need the public to make money. Everyone now is part of the prosperity of the.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's what I'm saying. How can we do that without creating the kind of bubble that when it does bust, we never recover from? That's really the problem. Because there always be boom and bust cycles.
Yeah.
But it's your ability to go through that cycle that matters.
Yeah.
But we went through a bust in 2007-8. We're only just recovering almost 20 years later.
Yeah. So when you think about it, right? So in advanced markets, right?
And that makes sense. 20 years ago, a child that was born then is just 20 years old today.
Yeah.
So he's making his first check and he's saying, I have to invest.
Yeah.
And he's buying maybe deep capital.
And guess what? That's where the SEC.
No offense to deep capital, by the way.
That's where the SEC and the investment community really needs to step up. Okay. Because in other markets, you have fund managers that use leverage, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So aside from maybe some private equity firms today and some infrastructure firms today, your typical funds, right, do not.
Yeah, but the SEC doesn't allow unit trusts.
That's exactly where I'm going. That's where the SEC needs.
Explain that, please.
Okay, so let's take the S&P 500, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you've got the QQQs, right? Okay, you've got.
What is QQQ? So for people that are not listening.
Yeah, so you've got.
It's 3x. Is it 3x?
Three times leverage S&P 500. So if you put $100, okay, you get an exposure of $300.
Okay, for you to trade.
Yes. But guess what? It's a fund manager that is making that decision. Right? In our market today, your typical mutual funds, okay, are not allowed to use any form of leverage. Right? So if Dele, for example, invested in my mutual fund and I could use leverage, okay, I would consider that a professional is making use of leverage, can make decisions, quickly, if he needs to get out for whatever reason. Now, if you hand that leverage to Dele by himself, and Dele is unlearned, okay, Dele would, speak to his is, you know, he's
plumber.
Gate man and his plumber. Okay, and both of them will agree that
No offense to plumbers.
that you know, that particular stock that is 50 kobo, right? There's nothing
Guaranteed double.
you know, and that's why we're also seeing all these Ponzi schemes, right? Okay, it's don't worry, it's going to go up, and then they'll pile money in, they'll go and borrow money from their aunties and their uncles and from everybody else and from the banks, and guess what? They will get hit big time. So I think that there needs to be that sort of mindset change from the regulators, right? And I guess it also comes down to us as operators as well to sort of engage. You know,
Yeah, so it's
why
education.
hasn't that happened?
Yes, it's just because
This feels like a very easy, like, okay, David, you manage 50 billion, right? Of this 50 billion, 10 billion is retail, right? Why isn't a bank saying, or why isn't SEC or your regulator
Oh,
saying,
security. Isn't that why? But this takes us back to that kind of capitalization.
Yeah, but that will really boost markets. If I can
It
go
will.
to, if I can go to as a mutual fund, as an institutional investor, if I can get leverage, you're going to see liquidity in the markets. I can get.
But is
liquidity
there because I know that leverage exists at the moment in the market, right? Some people. But what could stop a Cardinal Stone, a First Trustees or APT or which other sort of Chapel Hill from leveraging?
No, but I think
Is there any regulation that stops them?
regulation.
Some of these
Or regulation
some of the
stops them from
brokers-
doing that now?
No, but some of the brokers do margin
No,
trading.
so
brokers do
stock
margin
brokers.
trading.
Okay,
Right.
can do it.
Can do it,
Can do-
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But when you look at the
But why should
Look at-
mutual fund do it though?
Why should they do margin trading? To
Yeah.
increase their potential
mutual
return.
fund is it not people's money you're managing?
Yeah, so you want to
So
increase.
why are you leveraging on people's? I don't.
No,
see
it's
how
not.
that
I'm
works.
leveraging on anyone's funds per se. It's I manage your fund. Leverage allows me to actually take, if I have 100 Naira, I can actually get an exposure to the markets of 300 Naira, 400 Naira.
So,
that means if
who
if
am I
I'm to
making?
make-
Who are you making that money for?
I mean, for my clients.
for the
So
clients.
so that means if on a 100 Naira
I
position,
see.
if I can make 10%, that means I can make, you know, you're doing the simplest math, I can make 30-40% of that. So I'm actually making you more money, right?
Okay.
But also as an institutional investor, I understand the risk that
Okay.
goes into leverage. It also means that if I can make 33 times more than my actual position, I can also lose 3 times more than my
times
actual
more.
position,
Yeah, okay.
right? And then there's margin calls that come in. If the margin calls mean that, you know, by whatever collateral I've put in place,
can be sold?
it should not be below a particular amount, and
Yeah.
if it is, then
So once
I
you
have
hit
to put
a
up-
certain loss level, it triggers a sale, and then
yeah.
to try and mitigate.
I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's an apps, and then
And
it goes
that's-
into short selling as well, right?
Yeah, short selling. Yeah, I was just going to say that is the difference between, you know, IHS is selling some assets, right? Okay, and they're selling to MTN, and the assets that they have to sell in other parts. Okay, Macquarie is buying, and Macquarie is an asset manager, right? Okay, but your asset managers today, you know, can't really get involved in buying such big transactions.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
Because they
true.
can
Can't get
access.
involved. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they can access.
Because
Yeah,
you can
then-
leverage.
And then with short selling, if you own let's say GTs are 120 Naira, you see the management of GT making decisions that are going to affect the value of the business, right? So I think 100 Naira is 120 Naira. Tomorrow is going to be worth 100 Naira. I can go borrow the stock from you, sell it to Dilly, and then buy it back from Dilly 100 Naira. I tell this Dilly 120 Naira, buy it back at 100 Naira, give it back to you, and I make 20 Naira on it. And a lot of people are against it, but for me, it's betting against the company because you know that this guy is making decisions that's going to destroy the value of the business. I think our market.
Are we in a hurry, or I mean,
No,
isn't this meant
the
to
world
be?
the world has been there since the 80s, 70s.
No, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, because there's certain things that need to happen. Because you mentioned short selling now, so we don't have short selling in the market. You don't have our price discovery is still, still developing. You still have the issue of cost. So I think there's several things that need to start to happen for this now starts to come in play. You also need liquidity in the market too. You have a stock market that. 10 stocks probably make up 80% of the total market cap. So are we not?
If you want price discovery, you need more brokers.
Do we need more brokers, or you need more liquidity?
More liquidity.
You need more liquidity. Yeah.
It's more access. You don't really.
It's a lot of liquidity that
Because
we need.
but if you have more brokers, price discovery becomes easier because this guy is giving you this price, this guy is giving you this price, and you have a better idea of where the real price is.
I don't really agree. I get an example, right? One of the big, I talk to international investors on the weekend. We just gist. I'm not in the market, but I still gist with them, right? And some of the concerns is they love, as an example, they love Wema Bank right now. Wema Bank is a tier 3 bank that is
it's worth $1 trillion now, by the way.
pushing out tier 2 kind of numbers, right? We looked at the other day, the market cap of Wema is now
so at the same level with almost access.
Right? So, it's looking like as a strong, but the problem is he said, okay, Dave, if I give you $10 million right now, it's going to buy me Wema.
You can't get it.
Can I get liquidity?
No, you can't.
No. Now, if I needed to exit
getting out,
You probably that's what I was
so
saying.
there are these problems that exist, which is where we need to
Are they
deepen.
problem or are they, just about timing? It's just maybe we're
it's
just in a hurry.
We've been here since 2007.
It's a problem.
We've been here like nothing
It's a
has
problem.
changed. So
And this is why I'm pro leverage, right? When there's liquidity in the market.
But how will
there's
liquidity
more-
happen when you have we've been thrown out of the MSCI indexes or most other indexes. A lot of people are tired of stocks from the scars.
There's to be fair, there's some movement. Not fast enough, but there's some movement. So, for example, after a long push, it now looks like the PFAs can now do repos.
What does that mean?
Right? Okay. So, a sale and buyback.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So, in essence, before now, your PFAs can simply just place money with banks. And there are other liquidity pools in the market. Right? So an asset manager, for example, the conversation is I can do a repurchase agreement with you, right? Where the PFA can give me money as a financial institution and I'll give them an asset as collateral, right? Okay. So what that does is that if I'm sure on a transaction that I want to do, right, I don't mind taking that risk because the PFAs are a decent liquidity pool. Right? Okay. So if I'm able to get liquidity from the PFAs, right? Okay. That then increases the amount of things I can also do in the market. Some of that will filter to the equities market. People are going to take a bit more risk, than the PFAs are willing to take. So that's a good thing. That's one. The second thing is I know that there are also conversations around what's that thing called now? Stock lending.
Yeah, that's PFAs are good for that because they have stocks doing nothing and it's an extra revenue.
There's a conversation around stock lending that's advanced and moved on. There's some guidelines around it. Framework set up, right? So it's not operational yet, right? But there are frameworks in discussions and in play. So that's two. Then thirdly, because before now, if you want to leverage or lien any PFA asset, guess where you must go to get that approval? Bank.
Yeah,
Presidency.
I used to short some stocks.
You go to presidency to go and get approval. The answer was,
Sorry, I missed that. Sorry.
For a PFA to lien any of his assets to sort of...
they go to where?
Presidency, yeah.
Which presidency? I'm just... because I've been in conversations with a couple of banks last year because there's some stocks that I wanted to short. Let me not name the stocks. And it was available, but it was tough. It was very hard to get the stock.
Yeah, so if you went to it...
But I didn't know that they had to...
For PFAs.
I think the bank... Somehow the bank had... I think they were going to get some of their clients to actually lend it to them and then they would then lend it to me for borrow. Yeah, but I didn't know about the presidency.
Yeah, on the PFA, but all that is changing now.
Interesting.
Right? Okay, so,
So is this something that started because of the 2007... Like, what started that...
So some people have just been you mean I think that's always been there from the get-go, and this was to discourage any sort of excessive risk-taking on the part of the pension funds, right? Okay. Also because the market was very nascent at the time, nothing was really, really happening. But now the PFA market has come of age, So those structures are beginning to emerge. So I want to believe that in the next 5 years from now, that will increase the level of liquidity and the level of activity in the market. But the PFAs can't be the only game in town.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, other things need to be in play as well. Whether it's your portfolio guys or whether it's even the asset managers and the stockbrokers themselves.
Yeah.
I think that we have so many stockbrokers in this market. The market is overbroked, but I don't think that they're
not strong enough.
They're not strong enough.
Actually, even the strong ones are weak.
And they're all weak.
No. So it's not about technology. I'll give an example. Right. There was a time in this market where we had strong equity research. Right?
Yeah.
So equity research was a career line. I couldn't today see a young, talented cousin of mine or mentee and tell him to go and do equity research.
Why would he do it when there's ChatGPT?
Yeah,
That's
but that's
one.
another conversation. that needs to be had.
But listen,
Yeah.
it's essentially these
That's
things.
a-
So right now you found out that the quality of research is watered down. It's not
There's also an attention span issue.
I want to ask you a question. How many brokers can afford a Bloomberg subscription?
Exactly.
So those are not.
But these were all the things we were talking about,
But it's not capital that
when we're talking about
solves that.
capital
It's not
issues.
capital
But let's
that
move on.
solves
We don't
that.
want to discuss capital today before we turn this into another argument. But let's move on to other things. One of the big news we had during the week was IHS
Oh yeah.
and MTN deal. I could remember years ago when MTN went into that sale and lease back arrangement, selling all their towers to IHS, and now they're buying it back. What's in play here? Is there something that we're missing? Why is MTN going into this transaction?
I think if you ask me, I would say that, look, it makes sense. It's like backward integration.
Correct.
Right? If, say, for example, MTN is 60, 70% of IHS's business,
Yeah.
right? And what that automatically means is that it sits on MTN's books as an expense, right? Okay. So if I buy the asset, right, it means that it's no longer an expense on my books. It belongs to me, right? Or if I still maintain it as a separate entity, it also means that I get preferential, I can get some level of preferential pricing. I can sort of manage and control the business. I can also expand it in the way that favors my business, And also, for me, it shows a strong commitment, to the continent, Sub-Saharan Africa, for
But
example.
isn't MTN doing enough margins already? Why do they need to throw out so much capital just to acquire a business that, quite frankly, it's almost like, should they then acquire power companies? Should they then acquire every single expense line in their
I don't
business?
know where MTN bought into. Maybe I don't know if you check where they bought into IHS, but I'm sure they probably bought into it at the peak of the market, right?
It was about $8 per share or thereabout.
Right. Oh, and
$8.05
and they're buying it at $8 today as well, $8 whatever. Now that the business has grown.
Oh, sorry. This is the $8 is the current price.
Yeah, I can't remember what multiples they bought it the last time, when they bought into it. But I'm saying that I imagine that they're buying it for a cheaper valuation today
Compared to the business
when
that
they
it's
bought
doing.
it. So it's a good buy.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
one. Number two is that what they've done is they then internalize the margin. So the margin that IHS will essentially be making is what they will internalize. That's number two. Number three is there's now an FX protection that is happening because now the MTN has gone on a journey, even within MTN as an organization, where all their third-party apps or third-party infrastructure, they are bringing it in-house, or they are looking for local partners. Can we get cloud services locally? Can we get security infrastructure locally? They're bringing all of those, making those local. So a lot of that is now is the cost play. And I think finally they've decided that this is our infrastructure. This is our railroad, right, to get to the market. So we need to control that, right? Generally, if you speak to investor or internet investors who look at IHS, it's not the best run company. So I feel like MTN taking over, there's an opportunity to run it better.
So do you think MTN, because you talked about getting into the market, do you think MTN is moving into a towers business?
I don't
Is that
think
what you mean by
I don't
that?
think it's a tower business because it's going to still
It's an
run
infrastructure
separately.
play.
Yeah.
It's going to run separately. So,
So they're just going for more of the value chain in a sense.
Exactly.
correct.
Which
So
is like a natural evolution for telecoms business.
Which is why I
that
call
has
it
the capacity
is a backward integration.
Yeah. Okay.
So the FG says it's scrutinizing the deal. That was reported.
Yeah, they weren't
today.
informed of the deal. I think that's
I
what
don't
I read
know.
somewhere.
FG.
Yeah. I mean,
federal government did say that.
to the Minister of Bosun Tijani says,
They weren't-
given the strategic importance of telecommunications
saw that
structure
somewhere.
Really?
to national service, economic growth, financial services, innovation, and social inclusion, and to ensure strategic actions by
monopoly.
private sector operators are in line, blah blah blah, with the under the renewed whole policy, blah 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 blah. Authorities to
It's an invitation to come to Abuja.
But surely,
You guys didn't even wait for me to read it. So you have to go and explain themselves. Like, man, what are we extracting from here, man? Like, are you serious? I'm looking for money. $6 billion dollars.
Exactly.
Wow. Is he going to leave this economy?
So you have that money.
Come here.
Let's talk. Can you pay your taxes?
So, but the interesting thing is that
they weren't aware of because this conversation
This
has
is
been
an
going on for
MTN
years.
group. No, it's an MTN
The
group.
which conversation-
exactly.
It's
So
not
that's the
an
thing. So it's
MTN
an MTN group transaction. So
why
I'm
is-
just wondering, is it that Bosun Tijani is not fully
But
informed
it's-
of what's
but
going on?
It's a conversation that's going on for years. I mean,
I don't know. Just wondering.
MTN, IHS, this has been going on
Not
for
even
years,
that.
right?
It's MTN group
Group that is
Yeah.
buying.
that is buying IHS group, a part of IHS group.
Yeah.
And IHS is actually listed on
the New York Stock
New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand like what is the government's role here? Like what I mean, regulators do need to approve. I
they need to
believe.
approve now.
Yeah.
So I feel, isn't he just
So-
calling them to the table to seek approval? Isn't that what he's trying to say?
I mean, for him to push out that kind of the presser, I don't know. I'm just like,
I mean,
is there information gap here somewhere?
I don't know. Do they have enough work to do in Abuja? That's the first question. You have to understand. First of all, is in this market we have 4 players. We have 5 players. One is technically dead or trying to wake up.
Who's the one?
There's the Nitel. Nitel's essentially dead.
That deal's dead.
I mean, they're new backers now. Let's see what they do with it. Nine Mobile, or what do you call it?
T2.
T2, non-existent.
They're coming back though.
Well,
Sorry.
would you port there?
Yeah. My number there, T2. My number is still dead.
There's Glow that is on the decline. So
Is it?
already the market already consolidated. There are 2 strong players, right? And are you saying that we should just become weak because everybody else is chosen to be weak? You get what I'm saying? Like,
But they are claiming this is for consumer
Protection.
What are you
protect
protecting?
consumers,
What are you
safeguard
protecting?
investments, and preserve the long-term
Maybe
sustainability
it's a
of the sector.
Maybe it's a monopolizing situation,
no, but
right?
the question is that the other 2 players are in the market. Why are they not investing? So why has Nine Mobile?
No, apart from that, IHS is not the only tower company in Nigeria. Though.
They're not.
Yeah, there's
It's
one other one.
probably the
I forgot some-
American Towers.
American Towers.
American
Yeah,
Towers,
yeah,
yes.
ATC.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, IHS obviously, what would then happen is that MTN, even right now, I think I was reading it was last year where other networks were being allowed to put their equipment on MTN towers.
Yeah,
So
co-location, yeah.
to allow
They
exactly,
co-locate,
to
yeah.
co-locate. So
Yeah.
it's not a case where MTN has decided to
push everyone out.
push only one route or lock the gate and throw the key away. They've been collaborative. But the truth is, let the customer decide where they want to sit. The customer that decided MTN is the best network, right? Or Airtel is where we want to be at. And that's where everybody is porting to.
So I mean, like FG looks like this is a done deal, man. Come on, let's let it go. Some of us like how MTN share prices
Come on, kiss the
go.
rings.
But anyway, MTN, go kiss the ring.
They kiss
You
the
gotta
ring.
kiss the ring, man. You can't go through. I mean, regular deals like this, even abroad, are very well scrutinized. So I mean, it's well within their right to scrutinize the deal, regardless of where it's happening. MTN Nigeria is one of the largest franchises of the MTN group, so you can't just ignore, the right of the regulator to want to scrutinize. Just like I don't know why it's the minister that is talking, not NCC.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, not just sure why. But anyway,
I mean, what I was going to say something about the price paid. I don't know. What did you guys? Because it's a $6 billion. They're paying the enterprise value for the deal. So that's market cap plus debts net less of cash, right? At $6 billion. MTN is a $25 billion enterprise value company. So
they're paying above.
So MTN is trading at EV/EBITDA of about 3.9. 3.94.
MTN Nigeria or
MTN South
Africa.
Okay. But this deal is being done at around 7-8.
Was it MTN Group or South Africa? Because
MTN Group should be trading at more than that, no?
Yeah, because MTN South Africa removed Nigeria from. If you're looking at MTN South Africa, they removed Nigeria from MTN South Africa.
It's MTN Group you should be looking at, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's Group you should be looking at. I don't think Group.
Is it Group you're looking at MTN South Africa? It's Group now, yeah.
It's Group. MTN Nigeria Group.
Yeah. So the deal basically is $8.50, in cash, 36% premium to the 52-week volume weighted average price, and a 3% premium to its unaffected closing price.
It's a good deal. It's a good deal.
Good deal for who? IHS or MTN?
Even for IHS, for both.
Good deal. Win-win.
All
right. A lot of results pouring in. Any early feelers from you guys? What are you seeing? Because fundamentals do matter. So, what are the results telling you in terms of the economic
fundamentals? But right
fundamentals do matter.
Right now, buy anything.
Does from the point of view of the economy in a whole. So, are we seeing any barometer to the economy? Guinness numbers just out. Superb numbers. Was it Presco as well? Kumu Oil. We've seen a lot of results come out. International breweries. So are Nigerians, now is the economy looking up based on what we're seeing?
One thing that I take away from all of this is how the FMCG guys are, making back the losses that they incurred during the devaluation and COVID era. Right. Okay. So for me, that time was a trying time, not only from the performance of the company, but from the fact that, look, the consumers also were so weak that they had to get things into sachets, right? Get produce into sachets just to, help
drive
people,
volumes.
just to drive volumes and help people buy. Just people who just didn't have the purchasing power. But my conversations, for example, with the Nigerian breweries is, look, they're back to where they were, pre-COVID. They're back to the sort of volumes they were doing. They're now expanding. They're buying, getting more trucks in. They can't meet the demand that they've got. So that's very positive. And also it's positive from the fact that, look, FX is no longer an issue. Not only because there's availability of FX, but because they've also backward integrated on a number of levels as well. And that is good for the country.
All right, another piece of news that came out during the week was Oando. Oando said it's going to have its own right issue. It's going to start. It's planning to have a right issue, and they want to raise $220 billion in fresh capital. Where do you see this in the story of Oando, in the decade-old story of Oando and the
For me, anything Oando is no comments.
Why?
It's just one story that has scarred me significantly. In 2008, 2009, I sold that stock at 100 Naira.
Yeah. That was when it just got listed.
89 Naira.
At 100 Naira.
Yeah.
My client, when they got out at around 20.
Oh, wow.
I think even that probably led to the shutdown of that. Part of their exit. Oando was one thing, but markets were also down, but probably led to the reason why that fund wound down.
What year did it go from 100 to
Africa
20?
Fund?
Africa Focus Funds.
Yeah.
So it's just one story.
Yeah, but that was a macro story though. That one. So
Yeah.
the period that Africa found
Wasn't it when oil prices basically tanked or something?
Oil just went crazy. It wasn't
No,
necessarily
it wasn't that. It was,
necessarily
I'm talking about
Whyte.
it was
'Cause you had
2010.
Afri,
The whole story had
Afrin,
the whole story had happened.
that was
No, all story
2017.
was 2008
But this
now.
is-
I get his point. Yeah. It happened. It
2010.
happened before 2014.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
It's 2010, so it's not a.
But 2014.
It's not a.
But that ordinary price was their listing price at the time, if I could recall, when they just got listed. They had such a very great
No,
story.
I think it went down.
And things
It
started going
rallied
down.
back up to 100. I sold a ton of that stock. And frankly, I always say that Oando is the perfect story for your corporate finance class in the MBA.
Was it in terms of recovery? Or?
No, in terms of
corporate
just
action.
case study.
Corporate action.
What would be the question?
corporate
They always
governance,
structure
the
corporate-
most complex,
They were structuring
the
things
most
man, from the
complex
beginning of Oando.
corporate finance deals. I mean, at some point, some analysts didn't understand how to even model Oando.
Yeah, they had this. They had very. Yeah.
People don't even. As somebody don't understand the story. But for me, it's one of those stories where even if I was sat on, if I got the shares for free, I would still not take it. It's just how much it's
I know.
carried.
Do you share the same sentiment?
No, so Oando is not one that I follow, right? So I don't know Oando like he knows. For me, oil. If you're talking about the oil stories, is my Seplat and Aradel, right?
Yeah.
But Oando, I don't follow Oando, so I'm
In front of
I need to learn more from you. So,
Aradell's trading.
I know that Oando has some issues with-
Naira now.
sorry.
I said Aradell's trading
Yeah, Aradell's doing great.
$1,000 Naira now.
Yeah, and that's what really got me worried because one of my colleagues who heads on marketing at Nairametrics came to my office and was beating his chest. Did I not tell you? Did I not tell you? All of a sudden, he's not feeling like an analyst. He's not an analyst. I'm like,
Man, just tell them everybody's making money. Everybody's right now in this market. Everybody's a genius.
Yep.
because he bought
Everybody
Yeah.
is a genius. If you bought any stock at it, every single human being is a genius. So,
I like Aradel and I like Seplat. I like the fact that with Aradel, so it's one thing to buy the asset cheap, and the fact that they're now increasing production, right? So, for example, we also manage some of the host communities. And as you guys know, there is the host community fund.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And some of those host communities have doubled their income for the year. So, say for example, this community had or got 600 million naira from Aradel, right? This year they're doing 1.2.
wow.
Yeah, and
Just because because Ireland is doing well, then they also do well.
yeah. And what I understand is that the production pipeline is also expected to even increase further, right? So from that angle, you can just see the value accretion to Aradel being sustained, even beyond the share prices that we see.
I think there's also a fundamental thing that we need to comment here, and people will probably shoot me for this, but this government has been very deliberate in throwing everything
Just to get the oil and gas sector
at,
working.
get the oil out of the ground, right? You speak to some of these oil majors, and they're saying that even when they're negotiating with the government, things that they didn't think they could ever ask for, have been put on the table. So everything is being thrown at making sure this oil is getting out of the ground. So you have to commend Olu, who's the essay to the president, who's been at the forefront of driving sort of reforms there. I feel like they've done a great job. And that's why stories like Aradel are out there. And I think, there's Renaissance and all these guys. I think there will be a huge story, hopefully.
And we're still below our production.
Yeah, still way
take
below.
time,
Way
but I
below.
think that all the right things are being done, to get us where we need to be.
So David, in terms of fresh listings, what are you expecting this year? Are you expecting any major IPOs apart from the usual NNPCs and Dangote that we've been hearing will come on stream soon? But are you expecting major listings as well?
To be fair, I haven't really been following what's been happening there. Maybe I should. But if you guys know anyone, please let me know so I can.
I mean, I know a few, but I'm just trying to know about it. Just like I can't name names.
List, or they're going to list by introduction?
Okay, let's discuss this listing by introduction. What is your problem with it? What is your problem with listing by introduction?
So
let's get to that.
Let's go back, right? The last time I sold it, I've sold probably one of the most biggest deals in this market, right? I did the Airtel, I did the Seplats, we did the Damsem. I've done some easy $300 million type single transaction deals. When we did Seplats locally in this market, we raised $250 million. $2 million was raised offshore. So very robust, $500 million was raised globally. So think about, I'm going to use Aradel as why it's a missed opportunity, right? Aradel was on the NASD, right? And he wanted to come into the market.
Yeah.
You had a big shareholder there, which was ACA, who wanted to exit, right? There was an opportunity for us there as Nigeria was going through this curve, right? Of we're back, or people are beginning to look at Nigeria not to say that. So what ACA did was ACA last year took their shares and they created a program. Let's line up buyers and let's sell. It was a private deal, right? Almost like just a block transaction. We just cross the shares on the floor, right? What could have been done is as part of, we could have then taken Aradel on a listing journey to say, you know what, we would market this company as an IPO, right? And the stock that would be used for that IPO would have been the ACA shares. In which case, the management of Aradel would have been on roadshow to America, US, Cape Town, all the major markets, sitting in front of sophisticated investors to say, we are bringing and guess what? They could have sold the ACA shares and also even raised money for them as an organization, right? As a company. So you can even have done a $600 million type transaction. That was a missed opportunity. But what did we do? We ended up doing I don't know the story of Aradel in detail. Let's carry someone's research report today. What's happened is you've gone to do a listing by introduction. People are like, okay, what is this company? What do they do? Why should we buy it? Again, remember that even on the NASD, it's rallied from some small number.
Yeah.
It rallied aggressively. So you're thinking, you know what, isn't this thing already expensive? Right?
Yeah.
And then
and you couldn't buy the shares.
When the shares came, so even for me, when I saw AC, so a few people came to me to say they had $1 million, that should be putting $1 million in Aradel. And I said, listen, no.
I said yes.
Eh?
I said yes.
You said yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it was a yes.
I couldn't even guess shares.
Why was it a yes?
I'm wondering
at the time, Aradel was trading at a premium to Seplat.
Yes.
Right? At the time, ACA was doing the deal. So I would have told you to put your money in Seplat as opposed to Aradel at the time. Right? But I'm saying that, there was an opportunity where we're talking about market development here and a way to showcase that Nigeria is back. Aradel was the opportunity.
At the time, Seplat was the only.
So what I'm trying to figure out is, so your point is that they would have listed, if they had gone the IPO route, they'd have gotten a better valuation. Is that your point?
There would have been better price discovery. They would have been able to raise more money. There will be more visibility around the equity story.
Why do you think that visibility is not there now?
It's not there. It's not there.
Why? Didn't you read?
A lot of people don't know about Aradel.
You didn't read about Aradel, that's why. You're saying you don't know. That's because you didn't read about it.
And there's no liquidity in the stock either. You can't get in if you want to go in size.
You can
right?
go in size.
Nobody could get in.
No, actually,
Yeah.
even the ACA deal, right?
Yeah.
That book was oversubscribed.
Yeah.
Right? So you can only sell what ACA was willing to give.
At the
time,
price
yeah.
they were willing to
At the
give.
price they were willing to
So
give.
marketing determined the price.
Marketing determined the price.
Which
Now,
is-
so you had other orders that are on the sideline. Those orders couldn't come into the market. So guess what? That $300 million sale by ACA could have been a $600 million transaction. Guess what? The liquidity of Aradel today would be huge.
But I thought that some companies who are probably listing by introduction are doing that because they're doing that because it's a private equity stakeholder who's probably looking to exit. That's probably one of the reasons why they do it. So your private equity, so it's company's 100%. Private equity probably owns 30%.
Yeah.
You own 70%. You're not looking for fresh capital, right? But the guy who owns 30% wants to sell. Do you understand? He wants to sell and say, look, I want to sell, I want to go out. I'm not, because an IPO is an initial public offer. So you're basically raising capital. Do you understand? So you say, I want to sell, but the rest, the others who own maybe 70% don't want to sell. So what you do, you list by introduction. Isn't that the whole idea?
And I'm saying that if that window was, if that listing majority didn't exist, either would not have an option but to go and list and do an IPO. Or but you raise a small amount of money and then sell the rest.
Don't forget that we're in a capitalist system.
Yeah.
Right? And if the people who were the managers of Aradon wanted to buy a piece for themselves from the ACA pot, and their friends, and they wanted certain people on the board, going to go and do a public offer, will probably not be the best way to go.
Exactly. Because it opens them up or what?
Yeah.
It doesn't allow them.
It doesn't allow them to get as much shares as they want.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. But so that's basically
so isn't it anti-capitalist though in that sense, right? Because the whole idea of capitalism is free markets.
Free markets. Right. So give up your company.
So if I develop a company,
it's free now. No, to understand this point. So the thing is that at the end of the day, right? So you have shareholders.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, a stock market is where you want to, as the owner of a company, you either want to exit or you want to raise capital, or you're just looking for some kind of governance or some kind of governance, right?
Yeah.
Or that's basically why you list. Nothing more than that. So if you're not listing to raise capital, you're listing because you want to exit. I remember back then in 2008-9 when we didn't have listing by introduction, what we used to have was offer for sale.
Yeah.
We used to have offer for sale. You didn't know what it was. Yeah. So I come in,
So
maybe
like
I bring I bring Nairametrics on board, and I'm saying, you know what? I probably own say 100%. I want to sell 30%.
Yeah.
And the entire money is going to come to my pocket.
So it's okay.
That's an offer for sale. Yeah.
What you're missing here is the investor education, right? A part of being a listed entity is investor education. What happened with ACA was a block transaction. There was a buyer, there was a seller, a broker was in the middle and went to look for buyers for the block and crossed the shares. A lot of the guys who bought those shares have not probably met ACA Aradon management before. They haven't sat down.
I disagree with you, but it's okay.
No.
Yeah, I don't.
Not all of them. Not everybody. Everybody had opportunity to meet management now.
You mean that ACA sale?
Yeah.
So
not everybody. I'm talking
human management.
Maybe human management, but not everybody did.
So who is everybody here?
HNIs. HNIs would have bought into the deal.
HNIs don't obviously meet management all the time.
Look, let me just tell you.
I think it was on the town hall.
It was a structured transaction, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And the buyers knew the sellers.
The invited parties.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that I'm saying it's not the same.
But anyway, we gotta move on. Capital importation numbers were out during the week after a long wait. In fact, we had to even put out an article on Nairametrics saying where's this data? I don't even know why data. We only had Q1 numbers out for a long time, in case you guys didn't know. And then I think sometime last week or 2 weeks ago, the Minister of Trade came out and said we had about $21 billion in capital importation in the last 10 months or so. But MBS numbers is out now. I think it was about $16.7 billion capital imports 9 months last year. 97% of that money is in foreign portfolio investment. And another 80% of that or so is in money market instruments. What does that say?
Foreign what?
Portfolio investments, FPIs.
What? Who invested in what? Almost?
No, I'm talking about capital importation.
Yeah.
So we attracted $16.7 billion.
Yeah.
About 97% of that was in foreign portfolio investments.
Yeah.
Right? And just roughly 400 million or thereabout, or 500 million was in foreign direct investment. And then that money, so that money that came in, most of it went into money market. So what does this say about, exchange rate, foreign investor participation in the economy, high interest rate that we're still seeing?
Yeah.
Is there a message in here for,
but
for everyone?
that's the natural progression of where we're coming from, right? So FPI comes
first.
right? So foreign portfolio investors come in first. That's hot money,
Yeah.
right? And that's hot money. That was always the worry that this hot money can easily leave, right? So we had Omo at extraordinary levels, we had treasury bills, we had the inflation at extraordinary levels, which that carry was always interesting, right? So part of the currency strengthening is the FPI. So naturally, where we are is foreign portfolio investments come in, and over time, this should stabilize the currency enough and make the markets or make the environment interesting enough for FDIs and foreign direct investments to start paying attention. So I'm not surprised that we have over 90% in FPIs and then the FDI takes time. But over time, FDI.
Yeah, I know surprise is there, but what I'm worried, aren't you worried about it? Aren't you guys?
Well, the hot money.
Well, one thing, and I say when you start looking at the change in the cycle, it's a cycle, right?
Yeah.
And it's a waiting game. FDI will take longer to come. It will take a 2 or 3 year gestation period, right? But one of the news that we saw was yesterday is that the Ambanis, the richest man in India, is coming to invest in Nigeria with TGI. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if you saw that.
I kind of missed that. But
So
TGI is not listed though.
TGI is not listed, but that's FDI.
That's FDI.
There's FDI coming. So
But I've been hearing all these audio FDI for years now, but I didn't see it in numbers.
It takes a while.
No, it takes a while. So
FDI
if
It hasn't come. They've been talking about FDIs for 2 years now. We haven't seen $1 billion of FDI yet. Yes.
So if Ambani is talking about coming to Nigeria with TGI, looking to bring cheaper manufactured products to Nigeria, that is a form of FDI, right? There's a lot of FDI coming in potentially in the oil and gas space. So I wouldn't say that. So again, all of these things is a cycle, right? Which is why I feel that we also should be careful how quickly the Naira appreciates. We don't need it to appreciate. What we always clamored for is we want stability, right? So I'm a bit worried at the way the thing is just galloping.
Did you see what happened 2 days ago?
What happened?
So I think Naira fell to in the market
1.3,
1.318 or something like
and
that.
then it went back up to 1.344.
And
So should we be buying dollars?
and the CBN panicked, and I won't say the CBN panicked, but I mean the market panicked, right? Okay, and what we heard was that CBN was then mopping up the markets. You know,
But they
mopped it all the
do
way
that
back to
sometimes. They buy when it's
1,003.
appreciating a lot.
Yeah, which is the point that even the CBN, I don't think wants a market that
To appreciate that much.
to appreciate so quickly.
But guys, so that's why I asked this capital importation problem. Don't we all see a conundrum somewhere?
How so?
So you have a central bank that has kept interest rate high for a long time at a very, very huge cost, steep cost. So interest rate is high. And then we've got all the carry trades happening. Because the interest rate is high, foreign investors are bringing in money, they're getting money in at very low interest rates and coming here and, working on the differentials.
Yes.
Right? So, but the central bank can't continue to do that because it's expensive. So now you're seeing rates wind down. Now, on the other end, of course, exchange rate is pretty high, probably undervalued. And states and federal governments, state governments are awash with cash, FAC allocations. And the central bank is on one hand saying, look, we're seeing a lot of Naira come in. It's hitting the polity. We're worried. Election is coming in. We're also worried because of the impact this can have on inflation. You also have a central bank that is focused now only on monetary policy. They're doing orthodoxy 100%. So they're saying we can't continue to keep rates this high because it's expensive. So rates are eventually going to wind down. Right now, if rates then wind down, what then happens to capital importation? Foreign portfolio investors now start to do either of two things. This is what you're concerned about. Is either they exit quickly because all of a sudden they don't even need to wait for their return. They've just made a lot of money on the appreciation alone, right? Yeah, alone. And of course, you're no longer attractive because yields are down. So that is my concern with a lot of that money going into FPI and not FDI. And it kind of looks like, because you go and read Cardoso's speech, that's basically what he's trying to say. Like, if that money, it's important for the fiscus to sort things out so that a lot of the money that is coming in becomes sticky and stays in the country. And so that's the big concern. So even they are panicking.
The question is, Cardoso has done his job Is everybody else doing their job?
That's the point now.
Right?
So he's done his job. So you get the point here. He's done his job. Cardoso can't keep buying dollars to keep the exchange rate depreciated. That's the point. So it's a catch-22. So the only way you can keep the exchange rate depreciated is to keep interest rates high. And it's expensive.
So what would you like him to do? Is the question I'm trying to ask.
It's not him. It's not him. There's nothing he can do. That's the point. So that's why he's telling the government that you got to find a way to channel a lot of the funds coming into FDI. And you can't channel funds into FDI if your economy is not good.
Yeah.
If ease of doing business is not there, government agencies are not serious enough to attract the right capital. You don't have a very solid capital market that can pull in this capital. These are all the things he's saying. That's not his job. He's not going to do it. Murphy probably would have done it, but he's not going to do it because the inflection point is what happened in 2019, 2018, 2019. If you all remember, we've seen this happen before. The same thing. We had very high interest rate. We had exchange rate at 360 Naira to the dollar for a protracted period. And then they couldn't hold anymore. And then around 2019, they start to wind down. And then what happened? We started to see we went from 360 to 366, 367. I can remember very well. And then COVID happened. And then
I mean, there's something that Sam always says on this show, which is that the central bank is not in the business of making profits. So, if he's going to use, he might have to use his balance sheet to drive the stability that we need. And that hopefully that stability is what then translates quickly, hopefully, into FDI. So that's the only way. You want to be able to buy as much time.
The question is, what actually attracts FDI is the question, right? Is not necessarily the monetary environment per se.
So you've got to have a very solid stock market in the first place
for FDI.
Yes, I always say that. You got to have that
foreign direct investments.
Foreign direct investment coming here and set up businesses. So you got to have a very solid stock market. You got to have solid institutions as well.
Institutions, yes, because you need a better
legal.
Legal as well. Very important.
So on the fiscal side, but I'm trying to relate and connect the stock market to the foreign direct investment side. Is it to give them an exit?
Let me hear you.
To be honest, I really do not think that on top of their priority list, the stock market will be one.
Whose priority list?
The FDI they're looking to come.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The first thing is stability, fiscal stability. Right? Okay. Can I bring my money out and can I take it out?
Exactly.
When I want to, right? Okay. Is there legal jurisdiction that supports the rule of law? Right? Is there, what do you call that thing now? When you, free movement of goods, right? Okay, and services. So, for example, if we're doing this after thing, right, is it possible to sell to regional economies? Okay, so they're looking at the size of the market. They're looking at how easy it is to, take legal action if there's for the law to support me. Thirdly, they're looking at can I use my money to make my profit and then take my money out when I want to. So stability is important to them, right? If I'm to say where Nigeria is today, will FDIs come in, right? I'm not sure they will.
That's why it's scary. What's going on?
I am not sure.
That's why it's scary.
So everybody talks about, yes, Nigeria is huge population, big markets, right? Okay, what's the purchasing power of that market? What's the purchasing power of that market?
I mean, MTN is still making a lot of money here. Okay. So
of course,
price point matters here at the end of the day.
Okay, so
Nigerian Brew is just pushed out 140 billion or so in profit. So I mean,
so you have to ask yourself that, look, if I am coming to this market, am I able to sell to, if I'm selling to the lower end of the market, then of course, great, right? I will do that business. If I'm coming here and I'm selling middle market stuff, how many are they, right? I'm not sure that the population supports that type of business. But on the granular scale, on the lower end of the market, yes, I completely agree with you that it's interesting. But Nigerian breweries, MTN are businesses with massive scale. You still have your smaller FMCGs who are also still struggling.
But let me ask a question, right? There's a one okay. I'm trying to word this now in my head and bring it out through my mouth. Oil and gas industry, we've seen the exits in a sense, and then we've seen local businesses take over some of these assets, right? Why don't we look at it? And we've seen it in pharmaceuticals. I've seen GSK exits, and we've seen some pharmaceutical guys, Emzo, Mecure, Health Plus, M Pharma, whatever, local guys actually sort of run this industry. Why can't we now see it across where, to the point that we can say, do we need FDI in that sense? Why can't local investors, with all this liquidity that we're saying is in the market, with all this potential leverage that we can get, why can't we now take over local assets and build it to the degree of to build it to
so that's why recapitalization is important. And that's why recapitalization is happening
so local businesses
across
big
boards.
businesses.
Yes, because, and that's the point I'm trying to make here.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when you have this sort of jolt you have in the economy, and you've seen all these reforms,
local businesses
you need to have businesses that have skill. Massive skill to withstand shocks, massive skill to create jobs and increase the purchasing power that you talked about. So without businesses that have skill, you're not going to have that. And that's why
do we need
to the CBN is saying, it's a combination.
Yeah, and
it's a combination.
And you also need a government that will provide that enabling environment. So I learned something, right?
I think that we just stop. So government, okay, first.
Let me tell you the story. Okay, you go to China, right? And you go to a neighborhood, maybe it's Guangzhou or something, okay, and you see different industries in the same value chain co-located in the same area. Okay, guess what? That one company that you're talking to is not just leveraging economies of scale from its own business, but its value chain also, right, are participating in that economies of scale and proximity. Okay, if you have a local business here in Nigeria, an FDI that's come to set up and needs machinery, a mold to create something, and it has to import it from the US or has to import, the mold cracks and it needs a new one, and it needs to wait 20 days, 60 days, 90 days for the mold to come in, meaning that production needs to shut down. That costs money, right? So it's not just that one FDI comes in, is the ecosystem.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I said it's a combination. So you need the FDIs and then you also need the locals to have skill, because it's that skill that all the SMEs feed on. Is there any, back to the stock market, is there any developed country or about to be developed country in this world that doesn't have a thriving stock market that is very solid? Even South Africa? India. I'm just giving exactly South Africa, India, South Korea, Japan,
South Korea,
China, US. It's not, you can. And so that's the whole point. And that's why you need to go and read it. Because I read his speech a number of times. I'm like, I don't think people really get what this guy is saying. So Kadus is basically saying, guys, I've done my bit on the monetary policy side.
Which he has.
It can't be sustained. So if you don't, on the fiscal side, try to do what is necessary.
It's only a matter of time.
Capital formation, strong institutions, strong markets that can create jobs that we need. And then incentives or opportunities for FDIs to actually come in and set up shop. Everything is going to unravel. Because at the end of the day, what does come is just keep doing carry trade. And carry trade don't last forever. We all know that.
So I don't also know. I think let's look at it this way, right? We were in a hole, right? And we've, over the last 3 years, what we've done is we've just sort of filled ourselves out of that hole, right? Stability, right? Unfortunately, we're going to go into an election cycle over the next 12 to 15 months, right? Once there's clarity around that election, the question is, then how do you grow from here, right? So the next 4 years or 5 years, I think, will be extremely important in the story of Nigeria, to the extent that I hope that we take advantage of this correction. And that is up to us as a country. Now, number two is, there is a herd mentality. In the market, everyone's greedy, right? And when the trade has moved from developed markets now going to EM or going to far south, global south, at the end of the day, capital is rotating. So there's a capital formation cycle that is happening. And that's where I feel like there's an opportunity for Nigeria to take advantage of that, right? Which is go back into the index, let the NGX disrupt itself. Let's ensure that, because we can easily go from the scale that, NGX has gone from $5 million a day and is now trading $30 million a day, and that is success, right? Success should be, you need to be at $150 million a day. That is success.
Success should be, you should have like 500 companies listed.
Yeah.
By 2025,
all of those things will work towards getting that to that liquidity. Now, if we fumble it, right, it's going to be an opportunity lost, right, over the next. So between now and the next, I say after we get through the election cycle, there is that 4 years where there has to be a growth. So that's what I guess what Tony talks about around the government needs to be bold around. What is our strategy? What is the story? Are we banging the table? Are we going out there to market ourselves to the world to say Nigeria is open for business, right? But there is a reversal of capital, and it's an opportunity for us. And the truth is, you're looking at all these consumer companies that are repairing itself. MB is back. I'm sure even the PZ guys that wanted to sell are not selling anymore. Everybody's repairing itself. So that story is changing. For the guy who's watching from outside, he's saying, okay, Nigeria is at that inflection point. Now is the time to go and buy this market cheap or getting cheap and ride the upside. So it's really up to us whether I'll take advantage of it or not, right? But for me I think, we need to give ourselves some grace, I think.
All right, guys, time is almost up, but let's go on to the next discussion. Inflation numbers were out. Were out last week or during the week, I beg your pardon. And headline inflation numbers came out. Was it 15.11 or something? 15.10% for the month of January. I don't know what your reading is of those numbers, but I'm just a little concerned about core inflation being quite higher than food, because food used to be the challenge back then. Food inflation was very high, but food inflation now I see it's single digit. So if you strip food, we're seeing core inflation above 17% or thereabout. Any concerns for you, Arnold?
For me?
Yeah, with core.
So
because businesses worry about core inflation more than actually headline
so for
inflation.
me, I'm actually the inflation numbers actually took me by surprise. I thought we would actually get a steeper. I was expecting inflation to come lower.
Really?
Right. I know that we all said there was going to be a spike for December. We didn't really get the spike that I thought we'll see, like about 20.
They kind of like
change the entire flatten it out
space.
And it's weird because I don't know whether the flattening out also affected the January number, right? I don't know whether anyone has any view on that, because I saw 15.1 and I thought to myself there was going to be a spike to 20 and maybe down to 14 or something in January. But 15.1 actually took me by surprise. And that core at 17.85, right?
Yeah.
That's where the core came out.
So if you unravel that core cost of services, that's still fairly high. So
that's the major driver.
And cost of human capital is also high. So
I also saw housing as well.
Yeah. So,
but I assume that the depreciation that we saw
healthcare was also pretty high as well.
Would feed into a low inflation number.
The what?
Depreciation that we saw in the currency, the depreciation that we're seeing.
The depreciation is in February now, not
stronger in February than January.
So, but I don't think prices have reflected yet that depreciation.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because prices are still pretty much it's a little high. So it kind of looks like maybe people should even delay buying things now, because it appears maybe prices probably go down the line. I don't know.
Can we say that we are now really in this disinflationary cycle, and how that feeds into the MPC next week?
I think that certainly these numbers that we've seen all point to a cut next week.
Point to what?
A cut next week. But I think that I worry that the food inflation numbers will still go up.
Why is that?
Maybe it can be a year from now. Because, so I'll tell you what it is. Why has food suddenly dropped? Okay. What we hear is that the administration, opened the borders again. Right? Okay. It's food coming from...
There was good importation.
Yes, so there was good importation through the borders, right? Okay. Now, food is so cheap that your local producers, right, have made a loss. They have, right? So a number of those guys who've made a loss are saying, you know what, next farming season, I'm not getting involved, right? I have no money to even plant. Okay. So there's a school of thought that says we've just kicked the can down the road when it comes to food inflation, right? In that, look, if the government cannot continue to destroy the local production capacity.
So how are they destroying the local production capacity?
If the import is cheaper than
Yeah, but at
local
some point we're
production.
like, open the borders. It was a bad idea. It's a
market.
Buhari
So you're
idea,
asking
free
for borders to
markets,
close?
Okay. So I'm not asking for borders to close, but
Yeah.
guess what? You can't continually open your borders to feed the nation if your local guys, okay,
we'll go back to
are
this.
getting stuffed.
It's a
Okay, and if they're getting stuffed, right? Okay.
It's a very interesting.
Economics is tough. Yeah,
It's a very
there's two
interesting
sides, right?
discussion because
There's
yeah,
a buyer and a seller.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, the thing is that I would always stand on the side of the consumer when it comes to things like
So
this.
as in let competition take its
I tend to always because the argument around import substitution
Yeah.
and and maybe free markets and allowing competition to happen, I always allow the consumer dictate. Right at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, a government's job is let the consumers pay the best price for a product, and the best price is always the cheaper
Well, the government's
price.
job is to protect its. Okay, now we're going into
Exactly.
this.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No.
But it's normally the
Exactly.
something that like
No.
I'm about a communist or socialist. But
Let me explain why.
See, it cannot be that.
Yeah.
Imagine if China, right, back in the 60s,
Yeah.
Thank
right,
you.
had
I'll
said,
keep quiet on this.
hey,
Thank you. Let me just shake your hand on this.
Let's just
Let me shake your hand on this.
You know,
Yeah, please.
let's just allow everybody to come in. Our goods are inferior. It's okay. Let's just allow the US to come in.
But isn't that what Buhari did? That we all complain
But the
about.
problem is that
Wasn't that what he did?
But when we closed the border, right, the local guys that were here were now
Increasing.
over.
Inflating.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
I have interviewed people, right,
My own
on my
enemies.
podcast who have told me, dude, the border closure was the reason why they survived. Agro products, they were able to do more rice, selling their business
And
boom.
it's the reason they survived. right?
Yes, but
But they-
it's
they
also the reason why poverty increased because
Yeah, but now
rice
listen,
went
now
to
that-
like 100K.
120.
Yeah,
But see, you know
120K.
something, right? Okay.
But also now Naira is even stronger now. Is even
Yeah.
going to knock the local producers harder.
Yeah,
Because
Right.
they can't
Right.
export.
Okay, because they can't export. The bottom line is that look, okay, it's one thing for the government to say, oh, we've closed the borders and the local guys are having a wonderful
day.
time, right?
So maybe there should be some sort of
But
price
guess
control.
what? Exactly, price control.
Oh my God! No way! No way! They said so, not on drinks and wine.
There is no place in the world. There's no place in the world.
No.
that there is some level of price control.
So we should have another pricing board.
No.
Oh my God.
So what? I like to hear this economics. Let me hear it.
Okay. So conversation is, I'm supplying you fertilizer.
Yeah.
Government is giving fertilizer to people.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. This is your sort of costing, right? And you find out sometimes this price increases, right? It's from the middlemen and the middlemen and the middlemen, right? Okay, I hope you know that.
Yes.
Okay, so guess what? Find different ways, right, to ensure that these things get to market, okay? And you sort of have a margin for the outgrowers and the guys who are doing the real farming, okay? So that the middlemen don't take advantage of it. And
See,
we're not ready.
the answer is very simple for this thing, right? It's just that the problem is it's a very corrupt. There are a lot of
Greedy.
corrupt people here.
Yeah.
Not even greed, because the greed happens everywhere in the world. It's just a lot of corrupt people in the system. That's why it's not working. You don't even need price control. You just need licensing, right? Very good licensing, and then government's ability to play a role, which is the role is when you see prices going up, you can come in and buy and all that. You can, same thing the CBN will do in FX. That's all you need to do. Not necessarily have some kind of price. Just come in and you can do all that without having any kind of price control. But the problem is that, like you said, it's the same issue we have with real estate. You have so many agents out there who are not licensed, who have no business being agent, and who don't provide any economic value. Yeah. I give you an example. I got a letter from an agent increasing rent on my businesses. Yes. And just by happenstance, I met the landlord, the owner of the house, just in some event. Like, oh, I'm even your landlord. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, by the way, you sent us letter. I was like, send you letter? No.
Can you imagine? Was unaware.
Are you sure? So yeah, they sent you letter. Blah blah. Because it was incredible. Rent was increased the year before, which everybody understand that rent had to be increased, right? Right. So it's not normal to increase rent back to back 2 years.
But the agents doesn't get an agency fee.
No, they get these days. That's why I thought they didn't get, but I heard they get these days. I heard they get these days. And then some agents just, I don't know. But anyway, the gist is that we didn't authorize that. You're going to get another letter basically rescinding.
Wow.
And that's what happened. So my point is this, these are the sort of...
Are you sure the landlord did not just...
No! I said by happenstance. I'm telling you, it's not...
He would have stood by his decision now.
Yes, no. Who doesn't want more money? That wasn't their decision.
So they sent the letter without his instruction.
That's what I'm saying. It happens.
Wow.
That's the point I'm trying to make. So where you have a lot of unlicensed players in key areas in the economy that feeds into inflation, that's where government comes in. It's not through control. You have to do better license. But the problem is that if you say, oh, government should not license, that's corruption. Then they start to license their friends.
Capital needed for broadcast.
They start to license their friends, their cousins, their girlfriends, and their boyfriends, and all that kind of stuff. So but with licensing, then you can know the right people in the market, the right skill, because skill at the end of the day would always provide competition and reduce pricing. That's what I always think. Right, because you now need to be a lot more efficient in how the market operates, and that's the problem here.
I don't think that government is efficient enough to run these things. That's the problem.
I'm not saying run what licensing.
No, like even oversight.
But that's the job. Then why do you need government?
But they don't do the job.
That's the job. That's what I'm saying. It's corruption.
The only job is being exactly.
It's corruption.
So what you don't do?
The job of government is regulation, and regulation is licensing and oversight. Yeah. That's the job of regulation. Regulation is pure licensing and oversight. That's it.
This is nice in principle.
And consumer protection.
The execution of it is.
So if you don't have a so that's what I'm saying now, Dilly. If you don't have a government that can license properly, right, provide right oversight, and then protect consumers without corruption, there's none. But people will also tell you, a lot of regulatory agencies today, the overall organ of regulatory agencies, some regulatory agencies in this country don't head more than 1 million naira a month.
Is that that's not what they are spending now. I mean,
I'm telling you, that's what they earn now. So my point is that. So
what the president earning?
Wait now. Wait. You have a regulator who is regulating a very sensitive.
So you want regulators to get paid more than the people?
If you don't get paid more, that person
to get paid.
That person has the same aspiration as you. The person wants to go. Are you not going to Jollof very soon? The person wants to go and Jollof like you. Wants to have children abroad. Wants to have children, good schools and all that. They want all that perks too. Maybe they don't want to be billionaires, but they want to have a very good lifestyle. And the regulator is regulating you, and you're driving.
But regulators should have ambition for material things. Regulators should have. Regulators should be.
What?
I want to see this thing work.
So what? Regulators should be altruistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. That's the pastor, bro. Even pastors are not. Even a regular pastor dresses more than you. I'm telling you, pastors drive G-Wagons these days. And say a regular should be hungry. Hell no. And that's what's going on. So it's an entire issue. Anyway, guys, we gotta move into buy, sell, or hold as we wound down. I got a few buy, sell, or holds. We haven't done buy, sell, or hold in a while, but
Yeah, we can say.
Yeah.
Why'd you went to
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Really?
So we're gonna do buy, sell, or hold quickly. Buy, sell, or hold, by the way, David, is buy means yes, you agree, sell means you don't agree. Hold
okay.
means you're neutral. So we're always giving up to neutral. Thank God
right.
Tunji's not here. Tunji has all this buy, sellish, whatever that he came up with. Just 3 buy, sell, or holds. I mean, we talked a lot about the NGX and everything that's going on. We've seen market cap now at about itching to 120 trillion or thereabout. So we had expected to see market cap at 150 at the end of the year. But buy, sell, or hold, market cap 150 trillion by March ending Q1.
March ending.
Yeah.
March ending?
Yeah, Q1.
I can give more my feel. I can give my annual my.
Buy, sell, or hold, March ending now. I should not talk annual. Annual is too easy.
So
You should know buy, sell, or hold is not easy.
market should go up on that 25% before.
End of March?
Before end of
No, I
March.
think there's gonna be some profit taking.
No, I
There
think
should
I
be
think
no
that
25%
a
of
lot of
March.
the banks when it's reporting cycle. So I feel like a lot of the corporate action will happen after the corporate action. So I would say that's a hold.
Mm.
A lot of banks will report April, right? That's it. So and then the market can react to those numbers. So and then there's always that slogan in the market: sell in May and buy again in September. But so there's always a
Sell in
rally.
May and go away.
Go away. There's always a rally between sort of April through to May, right? I do think that the market should do north of 70% upside this year across the whole year, but I don't think that by March we'll be up 50% year to date. That's
I know.
So I think there's some short-term pain coming. Yeah, in the markets, just short-term pain. I mean,
You love pain. You just love boss. So you can go back in and buy.
Yeah.
I know. That's what you like.
Yeah, because there's a few things
He's
I
such
missed.
a very,
There's a
very
few-
consummate
there's a few
trader.
things I
God.
missed,
These are the kind of
man.
traders that they used to put on the stake back
Things I
then. Just
missed.
kidding though.
I need to get back. I mean, market's upward 12-15% this
Already.
month.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy numbers.
Yes, yeah. I mean,
to date.
yeah. There should be
So
some
it's a sell
short-term
for
pain.
you?
Yeah. Another 20% from here by the end of March. No, so I don't think we do it.
Maybe.
I mean, if we do, I don't think we do it.
It's a sell for me.
So it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening.
All right.
We'll be close, but we've already seen a really sharp ramp up already. So it's only normal to expect some sort of profit taking from here. A lot of people think maybe the PFAs would jump in.
Yeah.
You
Not
know.
even FPI is coming in as well. You guys don't think
Yeah.
that will drive things up?
I think that
GT is not yet at 10x its profit. So.
correct.
It's
But
earnings.
I think that the PFAs also are now being cautious because it's also gone.
So are they rolling into other like tier 2, mid-tier names? That's the thing that I thought you would do, right? If I'm a portfolio manager and I have all these stocks and then a new inflow comes in, right? Rather than, yes, I would window dress a little bit to buy some of the names already making money. So but I'll also use some liquidity to roll into some mid-tier names. Do you think the pension funds are going to do that? Are there any names that you're looking at you think?
They're not really doing the mid-tier names.
They're just sticking to
They're sticking to quality.
some of the issue that we have now.
Yeah.
But there's not.
all right.
There's not. I don't see anything wrong with that. Stick to quality.
No,
but I
there's
don't-
quality in tier 2, right? And whatever, there might be some tier 2 names that have some quality. No?
Better
it's not a lot.
glass
It's not a lot
is
now.
there too, and I mean, it does.
Better glass is
It's not a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's a hold for me though, and it's a hold
You think it's
because
possible.
yeah, I think it's possible. I mean,
Okay.
it's a stretch. I agree. It's a stretch, but you never just know.
I think the market will be on an
MPC.
upward trajectory. I just don't think it's going to
150 might be
I don't think
might be a
that's
stretch. So
Yeah, I don't think it goes up.
that's
in a
why
straight
it's
line.
not such a buy, but I think
Yeah.
it's a hold for me. Anything can happen. Next buy, sell, or hold is the exchange rate. We've seen a rally over the last few weeks rather. It's gained every month, at least this year. January is gained. December, it did gain end of last year as well, relative to the prior month. Do you guys see the exchange rate will strengthen below 1299 and below buy, sell, or hold by end of March. At the way it's going.
Buy.
Buy.
Whoa.
Buy.
So as in it
We're
does.
going below 13
Yeah.
to like 129, 128.
Yeah. Because if the MPC is when next week, right? Okay, and there's a cut. The CBN did something recently. Did an 8-day OMO.
Yeah. So it was on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, they did an 8-day OMO, meaning that
What price?
What does that mean?
basically the way we read it was we intend for rates to go lower, right? Rather than us locking you into a much longer term security. Okay, now, right, just before the OMO, let's do something that is very short term, 8 days, right? By 8 days, we will know where the market's headed.
Wow.
Right.
So they don't even know where the market is headed to.
So the conversation is, okay, in 8 days' time, rates print lower, then yes, then great. Let's, we'll fill you in at a lower yield.
And we just saw Treasury bills numbers up
Yeah.
as well. So, Arnold, buy, sell, hold. Are you buying with Are you buying?
Yeah,
buying
so I think
daily
we
as
see
well?
some short-term strengthening. End of March, right?
Yeah.
Mid-March. I think by mid-March, the currency continues to strengthen. There's this whole Chinese New Year.
Did I say end of March or end of February?
End of March.
End of March,
Yeah,
yeah.
end of
So
March,
this is all Chinese New Year. Last year, the currency did a madness where it strengthened around the same time. I think it does that as well. But I still think it's an opportunity just to buy dollars. But
You're always thinking the other side.
dollar buyer.
yeah,
Arnold just thinks the other side is a trade. That's what he loves doing.
I'm not a dollar buyer.
yeah, of course. No,
Really?
nobody is now.
No.
That's why. So
Your net Naira now.
Just from a global currency perspective, okay, dollar weakness.
So you're,
So
you're
holding
buying as well.
Swiss francs.
Yeah, so I'm holding. I'm holding gold. So yeah, so gold, Swiss francs, Japanese yen. Yeah.
Wow. You're not holding Naira.
Oh yeah, definitely. Obviously, yeah, we have to hold now.
So we expect the exchange rate to depreciate then, to appreciate that, beg your pardon.
yes.
All right. Last buy, sell, or hold, which is the one that's very imminent. MPC rate cut coming up. I know we've done some buy, sell, but new information is in. We've seen where the rates are going. Buy, sell, or hold, MPC to cut rates
So
50% and above.
Ooh.
50 basis points and above, I beg your pardon.
I know that's a sell.
as in they won't cut
They will
50
not cut
bits.
50%. They will not cut 50%. 50 basis
50
points.
basis points.
As in higher
much
or
for that?
lower.
It'll be lower. It'll be like
0.25.
So expect low.
maximum 50 basis points. I think it's if I'm if
Well,
for me,
50 basis points and above. That's what I said.
and
50 bips and above. Yeah. Either 50 bips or above.
Well,
That's what I said.
my last week my position was 50 basis
Yeah,
points.
so you're buying now.
No, let's go above my 50 basis points. So do you think that they will cut above 50 basis points? I think that's a sell.
I don't.
Yeah, so I'm at 50. Yeah, I'm at 50.
So you guys are
50.
basically just twisted this by because I said 50 and above. So you guys are
No, but I was at 50 last week.
Well, I love you.
Yeah, so I'm still at 50.
Still
Which
at
is a signal, which is more of a signal than an actual decision in a sense. I think that the signal is that we are in an environment that is dovish. That's the signal, but we are not taking that action of actually cutting. I think that currency...
0.25.
I hope they don't cut. Actually,
you hope they don't cut.
yeah. I hope it's so. I hope
Because you think it'll be too early, a signal.
I think you need to see 2 or 3 rounds of disinflation, right? We've seen a very good one at this point. I think we need to see 2 or 3 months of disinflation, and then you can decide to do something. But
I think 0.25 to 50 bips.
that's a waste of time. Why bother do that?
Signal.
Oh.
Signaling.
Signal to.
That's what everyone...
FBI's in particular.
Yeah,
So
signal.
but what's the point putting 0.25 when market is telling you, giving you 15%, 16%?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to understand the mechanics here. What's the point keeping rates that high? What's your messaging?
Because
really?
there's a lot of liquidity.
That's what I'm saying. But the market is already doing
But
16%.
because
Inflation is doing
because-
50%.
because-
So I wonder why you guys are so hawkish.
because they feel that if the central bank was to disappoint the market and not cut, all of that sentiment will change. Yields will move back up. I feel like people have just kind of taken a bet and said, you know what, he's going to cut. That cut is, I think market is going to cut.
Yeah, we're in a dovish environment, so
Yeah.
they're just signaling
But
that
I'm
we
saying
are.
that
But
if
they
you were
don't-
surprised to the upside and just hold,
Yeah, borrowing costs goes up.
that's my preferred position. But I feel like
It'd be a short
they
term
might-
market.
That would mean DMO would have to now raise borrowing costs, raise primary auction prices. So everything now signals higher. So they have to signal lower.
All right, you've heard it. Let's hear your comments below. What are you buying? What are you selling? What are you holding? Exchange rate. Do you think that we're going to see the Naira at below 1.3 by the end of Q1? Let us know. Buy, sell, or
let's
hold.
do what don't forget
NGX as well.
Don't forget what we do with the new guests.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you get into that as well. And then NGX as well. What are you gonna be doing? Do you think the market is gonna go to 150 trillion at the end of Q1? Buy, sell, or hold? Let us know in the comment section. And of course, MPC rate card. Where are you putting your money these days? People go to this website to bet these days. What's it called again? What's this crypto website people stake stuff now?
Don't do that.
I forgot your name.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, it left me.
Anyway, Diddy, yield to you. What's new?
Nothing is new. It's yeah, I mean it's been a chilled year, you know, just being
Chilled.
Yeah, it's been fairly chilled. Very chilled. I have
But tell me not to forget something. That's why.
no, like what we asked. What's my exactly? What I was saying. What's David been doing with his time? Like
Yeah. So that's why I'm starting with you.
yeah. I mean, I've been chilled. I've been chilled. I'm trying to plan for the year, strategizing for the year. So
No vacation. You know, you always are you playing with lions anytime soon?
well, there's
Tigers,
vacation in view. Maybe in April.
crocodiles.
No.
These days they're doing all sorts of
It's always a
shit,
vacation
man.
view for you.
Yeah, this
Where
guy's
is
feeding
he?
tigers, man. I thought that's
You thought you've seen everything.
I
and
thought
so-
he stuck with the Lions, and then I saw the Tigers. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
all right.
He just showed me some of the videos now. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, man. I mean, what are you doing, Arnold? I mean, you were in Nigeria for Valentine's, so I don't know. So
What did I do Valentine's Day?
yeah. You wrote an article on Valentine's and flowers.
Oh, yes,
can
of course.
Can I suggest were you shopping for flowers?
So I was in a situation. Of course.
I mean, just asking. Were you shopping for flowers?
So
Because I know how you think. You know, like
I was buying flowers for someone
oh,
Good Lord.
there's someone you got
in
now.
Nigeria, and then I bought flowers.
Or you
for
were
the
buying
same
someone
person
for someone in
Kenya.
Nigeria who. Or you had two people you were buying flowers
No,
for.
I bought flowers for someone in Nigeria and I bought flowers for the same person in Kenya.
Wow.
And then I realized the price difference was huge. Was
So this
absolutely
person lives in
massive.
both places at the same time, or what? That's like super
This
position.
person lives in Nigeria and then this person was in Kenya.
Oh, wow, you're a lover guy.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay, let's buy flowers on both sides.
So
of
the whole point of it was the price
Differential.
difference was huge. And so naturally, you know, being the OCD person I am, I had to look into why it was. And it was just a trade balance agri story. And I thought it would be interesting to write.
Right, so flowers in Nigeria is what? How much?
So the flowers in Nigeria it ranged between $60, $70 to $600. While in Kenya it didn't go higher than
So 140K
$100.
at
it was
some point.
insane. Yeah, it was
And in
insane.
Kenya was what?
Kenya didn't go higher than $100.
Why don't you just buy? I mean, some people are buying all these things and you put money in it. You know,
Yeah, I
Nigeria's
guess that's why people do
we've
that.
turned
right?
money to flowers, flowers to money.
There's a whole money bouquet.
I said that that's a crime now. You can go to jail.
Oh, really? You can't like
I don't know who they
Yeah,
arrested because
yeah.
I was seeing all over social media, so I don't know who they arrested.
Oh, wow.
What are you doing? Your time, this period.
I was just having a conversation with one of my colleagues today that I might learn to ride a bike.
Oh, wow. Wait. Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
so
well, you should. You should.
my son learned how to ride a motorbike in December. You know,
I'm not panicking as a father.
so eventually he got his bike. I
How
bought
old
his
is
bike
he?
2 weeks ago. He
wow.
is 18 now.
Wow, I was riding a bike already. Jeez,
Yeah,
man.
so I bought his bike 2 weeks ago. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I might as well just learn how to ride one too, and then we can ride together, right? So that's something I think I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, so what am I looking forward to? Well, if you're just watching, Nairametrics Investor Fair is coming up very soon, March 17th and 18th, 2026. And the Drinks and My crew is going to be there as well, along with several other people. We're going to be discussing where to invest in 2026, among several other things. It's built on WISE, wealth, investment, savings, and endowment. So we're going to be talking a lot of stuff. It'll be interesting. It's going to be a lot of drinks in the house as well. Of food, the usual way. Yeah, we're speaking to a lot of partners and who are going to make sure that it's fun to the event at the landmark, 17th and 18th of March. So watch out for that. So that's what I've been engrossed in, preparing for that show. Of course, we're going to have another live Drinks and Mike session on that day. So if you want to be part of it, do let us know in the comment section, and then we can give you a special invite. Aside from that, guys, what am I doing with my time? I think I've got this habit now of watching clips of Game of Thrones. Like, I just go on YouTube, especially in the night. Yeah.
Bro.
And just start watching different clips. And I've got this sudden fascination for Arya Stark. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah. Because I mean, like, her killing sprees and, you know, her strategic thinking and how she... Yeah. I kind of, when you remember Game of Thrones, you tend to remember Jon Snow as the star of it. But I kind of feel like Stark probably was the star of it because she was the one that killed the Night King anyways. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing.
There's a new spin-off.
Yeah, spin-off.
Yeah.
Knights of the
Kings. Yeah, Knights of the...
Is it Knights of the
Seven
Rings?
Knights?
No, there's also Dragons. What's that one?
No, there's one that's running right now.
Right now.
Knights of the Rings.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, what are you doing with your time? Let us know on the comment section. This has been Drinks and Mics, brought to you by Nairametrics. By the way, sell a whole David.
Oh, bye. We think
Buy was the socialist, right? The socialist. We have the same
Oh, please. I don't like him.
There's a line of thinking that we have.
So that's the buy. By the way, whoever said this buy said for our guests, we really mean it because it means that we want to have them back on our show anytime soon. These are very busy people, so it's an honor having you here. Naira, thank you so much for being a part of Drinks and Mics.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you so much. Tunji is going to be back very soon, but until we do this again next time, do have a profitable week ahead. Bye.